Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to today's broadcast. Yes, I know I didn't come live yesterday because I don't do Saturdays. So won't be live on Saturday, won't be live on Monday, at least this year anyway. And but we'll be back on Tuesday. So if you're looking for us again. But for today, we are here and we're going to continue on with the series that we were where we're discussing how much sugar is in your food. This is part 2. I want to welcome you to today's broadcast. If you don't know who I am, I'm Teresa T.L. Matthew. I am the founder of SAIR Nutritional Therapy. That is SAIRNT.com. That's the website. That's where you'll be able to find me. And also the founder of Some Foods, the maker of Some Sweet. That is the product that you see when you come into the broadcast. Some Sweet is the most spectacular, I can say that, sweetener on the market. It tastes absolutely wonderful. It tastes like sugar, has the sweetness profile of sugar. It bakes like sugar, but it is not sugar. It's a great tasting sweetener. And so if you want to get that, you can head over to sumsweet.com. That is SUMSWEET.com. All right. And so, and thanking you for joining us today. We're going to hop right in. Mom is on the line and tuning in as well. So, going to jump right in today. We're continuing on talking about how much sugar is in your food. A little bit of housekeeping here. You're going to see grams as it relates to the amount of food and the portion sizes, and want to let us know that 100 grams is 3.52 ounces, and we'll put that right at about a half cup. All right, so that's our measure. All right, so 100 grams is 3.52 ounces, and that's just about a half cup. Okay, so we're going to just keep going here. And just so that we know how many ounces is in a half cup is 4 ounces, 1 cup is 8 ounces, a quarter cup is 2 ounces. Okay, so that kind of should help us out here. All right, so here we go. We're going to start out by looking at, let's see, I'm going to go with bread. I'm going to put up the infographic about bread. And the reason why I'm going to choose bread is because when I first started, whenever I would try and stop eating sugar, my next highest craving was for bread, was yeast bread with butter. Oh my gosh. Right? So I could bread and butter. I love bread and butter. So that's the reason why I choose this one next, because I know a lot of people have cravings for bread. When you're trying to come off of sugar, your bread intake will increase. And a lot of times, and you don't even realize it. And the hardest thing for people is like, just a simple sandwich and having sandwich breads, and there's really not any. I mean, there are options out there for low carb bread. And yeah, there are options out there for low carb bread. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this chart coming up on the screen. I'm going to give me just a moment while I go find mine here, because I can't actually see that. It's really small for me. So do not tell me I did not love my bread chart. So bear with me just a moment. Let's see here. Right. So kind of strange that I don't have my bread chart up. Give me a minute. Let me get my bread chart. There we go. Bread. So looking at the bread chart, so we can see across the top of the chart, the glycemic index helps predict how these bread types might affect blood glucose. Important information if you have type 2 diabetes. It is very important if you have type 2 diabetes. It's also important if you are in have metabolic syndrome. It's important if you are pre-diabetic, because these are the contributing factors that will end up leading you to actually progressing into type 2 diabetes if these are things that you cannot begin to get under control. So you see here we have GI, which is from the glycemic index, and this information is coming from the scientific literature, and you see the gram servings there. For all of this is 30 grams. All right, so that's the gram serving size, and the glycemic load is what's next, and we're gonna talk about the difference between glycemic index and glycemic load. But for now, we're gonna just focus on the glycemic index and the teaspoons of sugar. So, how much does one small 30-gram slice affect blood glucose compared to 4-gram teaspoons of table sugar? So that means that teaspoon of table sugar would weigh about 4 grams. So white bread is a 71 on the glycemic index, and that is giving you 3.7 teaspoons of sugar. Okay, brown bread is 74, and brown bread has molasses in it. That's what makes it to be brown. And a 30-gram size is 3.3 teaspoons. Rye bread, which is 69% whole grain rye flour, is a 78 on the glycemic index, and is giving you 4 teaspoons of sugar. Whole grain barley, which is made of 50% barley, is 85 on the glycemic index, and it's giving you 5.5 teaspoons of sugar. And wholemeal, which is just basically stone ground flour like whole wheat bread, it's giving you 59 on the glycemic index, is 2.6 teaspoons of sugar. Okay. Pita, a whole wheat pita, is 56 on the glycemic index, and it's 2.9 teaspoons of sugar. Oatmeal, that is 62 on the glycemic index, and it's 3.3 teaspoons of sugar. And for those of you who are looking at the infographic, and you can see that 2.6 and 2.9, it's actually showing more like 3 teaspoons. Well, because when we learned in math, we do averages, and so 6 is over 5, and that gives you that you round it up. So that gives you basically like 3 teaspoons, okay? So that's the glycemic index for bread. And as you can see, if you had 2 slices of white bread, you would be getting, that's 3.7, you would be getting about 7.4 teaspoons of sugar, right? That's your sandwich, right? 2 slices of bread. So that's what you would be getting. So as you can see, when we're trying to watch our carb intake and watch the amount of sugar that we're actually having in our food, and this is basically food. This would be, I would say, this is probably in some cases minimally processed, but this is what's naturally occurring in this, especially when you get to like rye and whole grain barley. But you can see how many carbs or how many teaspoons of sugar it is, and so it doesn't always make it necessarily better for you. That's why they say to cut it out. Like if you're trying to lose, we're not going to say weight, but you're trying to lose fat, you want to cut that out, because, and especially when you're pre-diabetic, insulin resistant. It's ultimate insulin resistant is being type 2 diabetic. But you can see how you want to cut those things out of your diet, or minimize the amount of it that you're eating, right? So that's just looking at that, and I'm trying to get back to you guys here, get back on my screen, because I can see myself. I can't see myself. I can just see the chart. But so what do you guys think about that? You know, if you're out there, come on, let me know where you're viewing us at. Just give me just put a note in the comments. Let me know where you're viewing us from and where you're coming from. And comment. And what do you think about that? Do you have problems with bread? Are you a bread eater and really love a lot of bread, or do you want, or is other things, that what your vice is, But either way, for your body, it's sugar, right? So your body is sugar addicted, and it's going to get that from wherever it can, right? It's going to get that from wherever it can. So when I quit sugar, and I was trying to quit sugar, my next go-to was bread. And I would eat bread. I would, Sam's Club has those big, those big bags of bread, and I would go and buy those rolls, and I would bread and butter, bread and butter. See, but that was what I was using to fit into the place of the carbs that I was having. I was using the bread and butter, right? So no sugar, but bread and butter. All right, so we're gonna go to the next infographic. I don't know. We have, let's see. I want to try and get through all of these today, because they're, I have 5. I'm gonna try and get through all of them. So let's see. So the next one we're gonna talk about. Let's go with fruit, and then fruit and veggies, because there's a fruit and veggie chart and there's a fruit chart. We'll start with the fruit chart, and then we'll progress on over to the fruit and veggie charts, because I know there's going to be some overlap there. Let's see. Oops, let me scroll here and see make sure I hit on my chart. Yeah, we'll go to the fruit and veggies, and then we'll go to the white, brown, and green foods after we do the fruit and veggies. And then we'll do the common breakfast. All right, so let's take a look now. The chart I'm going to be putting up is going to be fruit and veggies. So, just a second. I want you to be on the screen. It's not your time, some sweet, it's not your time. All right, so and let's make sure you can see the fruit and veggies chart there. Or the fruit chart, sorry. This is the fruit, the infographic, and we're going to just go over some fruits. Now I know that I say a lot here that when you have when you're having, if you're looking at fruit, that maybe sometimes, especially if you're type 2 diabetic, you should not have fruit or a lot of fruit, because the consequences of the negatives far outweigh the positives of the fruit. But you can have fruit, and it, of course, it's everything in moderation, and everybody's body is different. So we just want to make sure that we're looking at that, and making sure that we're looking at what we can have. You have to know how it's going to affect your body. And I'm getting an unstable internet connection signal there, so you want to let me know if everything is still good. Okay. All right. So on this chart, it's showing that 120 grams, each serving size 120 grams, that puts you right at about a half cup, because 120 grams is about 4.23 ounces. So, all right, so I said I'm good again. So 120 grams is about 4.23 ounces. So this is right about at a half cup serving size. And again, we're looking here on the GI, which is the glycemic index. The scientific literature has provided this information. So on the glycemic index chart and comparing to how much teaspoons of table sugar. All right, so a banana, and we talked about a banana before, 62 on the glycemic index. It provides about 5.9 teaspoons of sugar. That's close to 6 teaspoons of sugar. And this is going by a your teaspoon of sugar would weigh about 4 grams. Okay? Your teaspoon of sugar would weigh about 4 grams. And so that's what we're comparing that to. All right. And let's see. All right. So that will weigh about 4 grams. I'm sorry. Yeah, the teaspoon of sugar will weigh about 4 grams. And then we have grapes. Black grapes are 59 on the glycemic index. And again, all of this is for 120 gram serving size, which is a half cup. So a half cup of black grapes would be 59 on the glycemic index, and that's equivalent to 4 teaspoons of sugar, right? 4 teaspoons of sugar. A golden delicious apple is 39 on the glycemic index, and for a half cup of that, it's equivalent to 2.2 teaspoons of sugar. Watermelon, fresh watermelon, is 80 on the glycemic index, and that's equivalent to 1.8 teaspoons of sugar. And I just had watermelon. Oh my goodness, I won't get into that, how delicious it was, but it was so delicious. Had my house smelling like a Jolly Ranchers candy. Yes, it did. Anyway, fresh nectarines. 43 on the glycemic index. It is 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. An apricot. A fresh apricot is 34 on the glycemic index. It's 1.1 teaspoons of sugar, the equivalent. And strawberries. Fresh strawberries are 40 on the glycemic index, and it's 1.4 teaspoons of sugar. So as you can see there are some foods that are better for you. So even at the equal portion size of 120 grams, that is a half cup. Banana is the highest, giving you 5.9 teaspoons of sugar, equivalent to almost nearly 6 teaspoons of sugar. And an apricot is the lowest, a fresh apricot, at 1.1 teaspoons of sugar for a half cup serving. So you can see you can choose the various foods, and we're going to get into that glycemic load, because looking at the apricot and looking at the apricot, and it is like the best of both worlds as far as glycemic load goes and glycemic index. So it's the best of both worlds. So you can see there. So which one of these fruits is your favorite? I mean, mine is watermelon out of this. And I've been eating nectarines too, because I told you guys that I bought some nectarines and they were not quite ripe, but I've been eating nectarines as well, and watermelon. But this is nature's candy, everybody. This is nature's candy. This is what happens in nature. And the good thing about fresh fruit is that it comes along with the fiber. And again, I always say, I do not purify this, not purify, puree this. Don't puree it. Don't blend it down to make smoothies or whatever, because that's pre-digesting the food. And even though you will still be getting the fiber and everything with it, it's pre-digesting, and it's gonna make it. It's gonna go into your blood system. It's gonna be digested faster. So when you puree it, you blend it, you make smoothies out of it, it's going to digest even faster. So it's better to just eat it whole, and let the enzymes in your saliva do the work to help to break down the food and the digestion process to go the way it naturally should go. Because as you can see, you're already, if you had a banana, you're going to get 6 teaspoons of sugar. This is naturally occurring. And even though when we're talking about sugar, when we're talking about sugar and the added sugar, what we normally are talking about is the added sugar to our foods. But when you already have a metabolic condition, you don't want to, you have to count all of the sugar, not just the added sugar. So you don't want any added sugar at all, and you really just want to focus on sugar in general. Because if you have diabetes, if you have any other metabolic syndrome, if you're insulin resistant, period, you want to focus on the total amount of sugar that you're getting into your body. So you want to manage that very well. All right, so we're going to look at the fruit and vegetables chart. So I'm bringing that one to the screen now. And again, we're not taking it today. Just going to try and power through this. But if you're liking this content, give us a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. All right. So let's look at the glycemic index. And again, using the glycemic index, this is going to predict how fruits and vegetables affect blood glucose. So here we have varying serving sizes because this is the fruit and vegetables chart. So we got varying serving sizes here. But again, remember that we're comparing to 1 teaspoon of table sugar that is weighs 4 grams, right? So now, so comparing the fruits, so we're going to start with the vegetables on here. So a boiled potato, and I think we looked at this the other day, is 96 on the glycemic index, and it's going to give you 9.1 teaspoons of sugar, right? And that's for 150 gram serving size. And for those who are asking what's 150 grams, 150 grams is a little over half a cup. I would say that will probably put you into the 2/3 cup range. It's 5.29 ounces. And so that would probably put you at right about 2/3 cup. It's not quite a cup, but it's not quite, but I would say that would be a good estimate for 2/3 of a cup. And again, you want to weigh your food, and if you're weighing your food, you will definitely be able to, because I mean, how much that food weighs, you put it in the measuring cup at that size, and then you put it on your food scale, and then you'll be able to know exactly how much your food is weighing. Okay, but we're talking a boiled potato, 150 grams, say around 2/3 cup portion, 9.1 teaspoons of sugar. Sweet corn is 80 grams, and that's 4 teaspoons of sugar, of 60 on the glycemic index. Frozen peas is 51 on the glycemic index, 80 gram serving size is 1.3 teaspoons of sugar. Cabbage, it's the best of all, it's 10 on the glycemic index for an 80 gram serving size, and it's less than 1 teaspoon of sugar. And that also includes salads, which is, like all of your lettuces, broccoli, cauliflower. I forget what a courgette is. Let me find that, what a courgette is for you guys. Let's see here. Courgette. I forget what that is. I think it's like a zucchini. It's some type of squash, or it's in the cucumber, squash, and melon family. So I would say it's probably close to a zucchini. Okay, a courgette. So, but as you can see, that those are all have less than 1 teaspoon of sugar. So those are very good to have. Salad leaves, salads, all kinds of salad, broccoli, zucchinis, cucumbers, cauliflower, along those lines. So those are very good to have, very nutritious, filled with your fiber, all your, your micronutrients, and they're low in sugar, hardly any sugar. All right. And so let's go back. Now we're looking at some more fruit here. We have raisins, 64 on the glycemic index for a 60-gram serving, and that gives you 10.3 teaspoons of sugar. It's quite a bit, quite a bit. A banana again, and here we have it at 62 on the glycemic index, 120 grams serving. It says 5.7 teaspoons of sugar, but it's between 5.7 and 5.9, and it's gonna be based on the size of the banana. So when they were doing this, based on the size of the banana with the chart, but you can pretty much go 5.7 and 5.9 teaspoons of sugar, 6 teaspoons of sugar, either way you go, pretty much. An apple. Again, we looked at that already, the apple or the strawberry. So apple is 39, it's 2.3 for 120 gram serving. It's 2.3 teaspoons of sugar, and the strawberry 40 on the glycemic index, 1.4 teaspoons of sugar. So as you can see, and this is real important because if you have this information, you can you can plan your food accordingly. If you are, and you should be meal planning and meal prepping. I know it's something that, meal planning and meal prepping, nobody really wants to do that. Because it's time consuming, but for your health, it's important. And it's important to know, what you're getting in your diet, how much portions of this sugar, because especially if you happen to be if, like I said, if you have these illnesses and things in your body, you want to know that. All right, so we're right at the 27-minute mark. Let me see how many more charts do we have here, infographics, because we have covered fruit, we have covered bread, and we have covered fruits and vegetables. And we have 2 more charts. So I guess this is going to mean that we're going to get to have another part 3 of this, and then we'll wrap it up. But as you can see, it's important to watch what you eat, because you're getting more sugar than what you actually think that you're getting. And that's the reason why I like to that's the reason why I'm doing this and I'm talking about this, because you're getting way more sugar than you think that you're getting. And we don't, when we're struggling with our health, we're struggling with what we're eating, we're struggling with trying to lose weight, and you go, I don't eat, like I used to say, I don't eat a lot. I don't eat a lot. And I didn't eat a lot, and I still don't eat a lot. But what I was doing is I was eating foods that were high in carbs and high on the glycemic index, and that had an impact on my blood sugar. Because following behind, I had already had this sugar addiction that made me insulin resistant. And so it didn't matter what I ate, because if it had sugar in it, then my body was like grabbing for the sugar, because it was already sugar addicted, already insulin resistant. Cells don't want that extra, fat cells do. So it didn't matter what I ate. The only thing you can do is to begin to reverse that insulin resistance. And that's by going extremely low carb is going to start you down the path of reversing that insulin resistance, get you back to an area where you're insulin sensitive. And then you can, go back to eating normal once you reach that sensitive state. But I think that for and definitely cutting out all extra sugar. No extra sugar. If it doesn't come in nature sweetened that way, get rid of it. Don't have it. And I say that, don't do the sugar. And I say that knowing how difficult it is. That's why I used SumSweet. That's exactly why I used SumSweet, because I couldn't quit sugar. I couldn't do it by myself. And I couldn't taste the sweet deliciousness of any fruit. And believe you me, we saw how much sugar is in those fruits, and I couldn't taste that sweetness. It wasn't sweet enough, and it would need more sugar. So that's why I'm saying to us, if you are struggling with sugar addiction and you're struggling with trying to quit sugar and the sweeteners aren't doing it for you because they taste bad and it makes it hard to stick to what it is you're doing, get you some Sweet Plus. That's going to help you kick that sugar addiction. It helped me, and it helped a lot of people that I know. Okay, it helped them to kick the sugar addiction. So get you some Sweet Plus to help you kick that sugar addiction. You can get that at SUMSWEET.com. Go to sumsweet.com to get yours. Go to sumsweet.com to get your bag of Sweet Plus. Also, if you want to get a nutritional assessment, go over to SAIRNT.com. Go to SAIRNutritionaltherapy.com, and that's SAIRNT.com. Click on About. Click on the About tab. Scroll down. You will see the nutritional assessment as well as a fat loss assessment. Okay. So it's been wonderful being with you guys today. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for hanging in there with me. And then on the next broadcast, we're going to continue on with how much sugar is in your food. And we've got some exciting things that are coming up as well. We're going to look at the glycemic index versus the glycemic load. We're going to do that as well. And I got a special something that steps a little bit out of talking about sugar, and it's going to talk about stressors in the body, things that cause stress in the body. One of the things that cause me the most stress, and I want to help us to eliminate that for ourselves too. Doesn't have anything to do with food, got something to do with technology. But you guys are going to see, so hang out with me for that in the future. All right. Until next time, I just want to say peace and blessings.